What's up, guys? Welcome back to B Team Jiu-Jitsu. It's your boy Nicky Rod with Nicky Ryan and Ethan Krelestein. Today we have an interesting topic of discussion. Do belts matter in the world of no-gi grappling? From the white to the brown all the way through to the black. Which one are you? And does it even matter? Have you guys ever had a problem with a lower belt, like as a black belt?
Problem with lower belt, like
in training, you were like,
skill?
oh, this guy's like a blue belt, purple belt, but oh, he could definitely beat.
For sure. There's lots of, like, Dorian's a great example.
Yeah.
He's what, blue belt? I don't even.
I believe he's a blue belt.
He's insanely good for a blue belt. So it's like, again, like a wrestler like that. I don't know if he's ever put on the gi, but I doubt it. Like, he's just so good from wrestling. He comes in, he's a blue belt, but he's going to be killing black belts out there. So
yeah, it even shows you that, like, even if you don't have high level submission, if you have high level grappling, like, you know the movements, you know where to position yourself, you know, it can take you pretty far.
Yeah, you can make yourself really hard to handle just by your positions alone, and like wrestling is all position. So
yeah, because like if you're talking competition wise, my first year of grappling, you know, that's considered black belt level grappling. Although I didn't have many submissions or like even really a good understanding of the sport, you know, just because I was able to beat some black belts, I mean, does that make me a black belt? I wouldn't really consider that. I think it's definitely based upon skill level. You know what I mean? How you're ranking the belts and whatnot, but at the same time, it kind of really you can tend to disregard it in the no-gi space.
Yeah, another great example is J-Rod. And he went and he won, you know, the biggest ADCC trials of all times with all submissions as a blue belt. So
probably beating many black belts along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's it. I guess it's like separating the more sort of gi jiu-jitsu you're talking about, the more belts are going to matter. You know, they rank you competitive-wise who you're going to face. They rank you in the gym. It's like super rigid, structured. But like no-gi, I think, is turning more into just submission grappling. So it's going to be like, you know, wrestlers are going to come in. It's going to be more like who's on top.
It's like wrestling with submission.
It's like wrestling with submission. So it's going to, I think the belts are going to matter less and less over time. But it's still, you know, we do it here. We have a wall of photos and where everyone stacks up. I think it's like motivating. I remember when I was starting, even when I wasn't doing the gi that much, I still cared when I got a belt. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Well, it's like a trophy. It's like, oh, yeah, like I earned this thing.
A little milestone, yeah. Especially, you know, the black belt. It's cool. But I think it would matter a lot more. It'd be a much more major milestone if we were strictly gi competitors or much more gi competitors. We'd be like, okay, now it's black belt. Now it's like black belt worlds, black belt Pan Ams. Whereas we're already, you know, I don't know. You were purple belt at ADCC, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It was either a white or a purple belt. I can't remember.
So it doesn't matter. And like ADCC isn't going to stack you up according to belt, whereas gi worlds, like you do blue, purple, brown, and then black is when it matters, really. You know, so no gi events like that, submission grappling events, like they don't really.
I want to know who picked the colors. Why isn't there like an orange belt?
There is.
Kids.
Yeah.
Kids.
Okay. Kids belt. Yeah.
How about like a maroon or like a what's another cool color? A teal.
Magenta.
Teal's kind of blue.
Teal's kind of blue, yeah.
All right, they got a good spectrum. Disregard.
I think, isn't it like it got dirtier and dirtier until it became black, and then someone's like, oh, let's grade it like that? You guys ever hear
Some
that?
people have belts for like 10 years and they just faded.
Yeah,
so they look like a
full
shoelace.
Full of staph.
Yeah.
You never wash it.
All right,
washing your belts. What do you think?
Washing your belts.
Some people don't.
I would. Well,
some people
when
say
I
it
used
keeps
to
in
train
the.
in the gi, I would wash them.
Yeah, I would wash my belt for sure.
I put the gi on a couple times, and I watched a YouTube video that I was supposed to leave it out in the sun. So I rarely washed it. I rarely wore it, but I was like sun dry. Is that the proper way to do it?
I think you should wash it.
Wash it?
I think wash it. Yeah.
You don't think the sun cures all?
If you use it enough, that thing is going to start to smell.
Listen, if the sun can cause skin cancer, it can cure.
I think it'll like
staph.
mutate the staph and make it stronger.
Okay, it's absorbing the rays. Yeah. I think originally it was like a business thing. Like I get it. Separating, you know, like be able to see like when you see somebody with a purple belt, you're like, okay, I'm gonna attack this round this way. You see a black belt, I'm gonna attack this round this way. But I feel like it's a great way to market a business because people always want to see like what does it take to get to the next level, and having belts is a good way to kind of establish that.
Yeah, I think it's important for, you know, like the students, because, you know, obviously everybody's coming in, everybody's progressing, so a lot of times students are going to feel like, man, I just feel like I'm not getting any better, but it's not that, it's the fact that everybody's getting better at the same time. So I think it's a good way to you know, reassure the students that they are actually progressing.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much cover. I almost don't know what else to add. That's like, it's a business thing as well as like just keeping track of your students. Maybe like if you're running a gym and you want your students to compete, again, this really is like so gi specific. Like, it's just.
Do you count the gi as a different sport?
I think it's starting to be a different sport, the same way wrestling is very different than judo. Obviously, they have a lot of similarities, and they're more different than gi and no-gi jiu-jitsu, but I think it's like becoming more and more a different sport. Eventually, they're going to be like no overlapping champions. Like, if you're either really good in the gi or you're really good in no-gi, and eventually, I don't think it's even going to be called no-gi. It's just going to be called
grappling. I think what we do is grappling.
Yeah.
I think what they wear when they wear the gi, it's called salsa dancing.
Okay.
I remember recently I trained with a gi world champ, right? A guy that's like really well known, black belt, went up, and we started rolling, and he tried to like get grips like on my wrist, and I just peeled them off immediately, and he looked at me like I was God.
How did you do
I was like, this is no gi, baby.
Yes.
Don't touch me.
So that's it. I think it's going to be more and more like that. Like the elite grapplers who train for grappling, submission grappling, are going to be too good at what they do for a gi specialist to come in and do well. I think it's going to be more, same thing goes the other way. Like, we're going to have less and less of a chance to do well in the gi. Like, I used to compete in both. You did anything in the gi? You competed in the gi once or twice, right?
At like local random nagas.
Yeah.
Yes, when I was like 13.
Didn't you puke on a guy once? Can we put that in here? Can you tell that story, please?
Yeah.
Mom
So
spaghetti.
Bro, yeah, mom spaghetti.
yeah, I was a white belt, and they had.
This is still thicky Nicky, right?
Yeah, I was still like fat as a kid, and I was doing the gi competition class, which was like right before John's noon class at Henzo's, and I'm a white belt, and I'm training with a black belt, and it's like a crazy amount of rounds, and they just do not allow you to take any breaks. So it's like over an hour of rolling straight. And I'm like a fat white belt training with a black belt, so I'm just gassed. And the black belt's being nice. He lets me get on his back, so I'm in turtle position, and I feel super sick. So I throw up, but only a little bit comes out, and it goes onto the back of this dude's gi. And I'm like a super shy kid, so I just don't say anything about it. God. So there's just like a tiny bit of puke on this dude's back, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna not say anything and let it ride.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you remember what you puked?
No, I mean, it was
Uncrustables, Hot Pockets.
It was liquid form.
Probably just stomach bile because you're trying so hard.
Yeah.
If belts don't matter at all, why do we have this wall of belts? What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's important for people to establish, separate themselves from the group, right? Because
hierarchy.
There's a hierarchy since the beginning of mankind.
That's true.
Right? Before it was dinosaurs, now it's humans.
Yeah.
Right? So climbing the hierarchy. I just feel like it's important to show separation, because if not, then you're just all kind of like...
It's just an archy. There's no higher.
Dude, exactly. It's a medium archy.
It's
a midarchy.
Yeah, a midarchy. No one wants that. Nicky?
Yeah, I mean, number one, we have all of the students on the wall, mainly so that we can remember what belt everyone is. Obviously, we have a lot of people coming through, so we need to know so that we can actually promote people and not fuck up and give them a blue belt when they're a purple belt.
Well, if they're bad, we maybe
demoting them. But yeah, I mean, again, I think it comes back to just reassuring students that they're actually progressing, because again, everybody's getting better at the same time, so it's just more of a reassurance thing.
Dude, one of the hardest things about training on the John is like finding the progress, because like you're saying, everybody's getting better at the same time, and I'd be getting beat up in the room and for like months, and then I go train somewhere else against the guy that I trained with like a few months ago. I'm like, I'm so much better now, dude. Yeah. So definitely, having them on the wall can kind of help us, figure out at what pace they're progressing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Belts in the gi, belts without the gi. Do they mean the same thing? What do you think?
I think they're a bit different just because, like, no gi, most of the tournaments, with the exception of like IBJJF, aren't based on belt rank. It's like beginner,
Yeah.
intermediate, advanced.
They just throw 'em in
Whereas
there.
pretty much every single gi competition is gonna be based off of
Yeah.
what belt you are.
Right. So that like leaves some sort of calculated decision making on the instructor's part, on the student's part, of like who I'm gonna get ranked up with in the other.
The real
sport.
question is
Oh.
who wins in a fight, no gi blue belt or gi blue belt. I'm
in
picking
an
the gi
MMA
guy.
fight,
In a fight, yeah.
like open MMA. Fight.
MMA
Are they wearing a gi or no?
What? That doesn't matter.
Oh.
If the gi guy wants to wear his gi, he can.
Okay.
But the no gi blue belt versus the gi blue belt, I'm gonna say the no gi blue belt just because he probably has more wrestling than the gi guy. Doesn't have to rely on this guy wearing a karate suit to get grips, and if he gets the right kind of butter, he's gonna slip out of everything.
Be cream. Yeah, I would say that's it's like if you take away the gi, the no gi guy still has everything versus like if there's a gi guy there, we're in a fight, he needs me to wear a gi versus I don't really need him to wear a gi. It'll not really change much if he has one or not.
Imagine
right?
getting in a street fight or like at a bar or something. You're like, all right, we're gonna fight, but let me put my costume on real quick. And you
Imagine
come
he
out.
just pulls it
He was
out.
like, oh, you don't have one? Here's an extra. Put this
Yeah.
on so we can fight. That's how you do it. That's how you win if you're a gi guy.
It's true. Versus no gi, you just strip down naked.
You get naked.
Yeah, you get to go. Butter up.
Yep.
All right, Nicky, your opinion, your take?
I mean, obviously, I think the no gi guy is
no-gi
gonna
guy,
win.
yeah.
Yeah, especially since I just feel like there's a lot more stand up in no gi versus
Yeah.
gi. You watch most of the high level gi competitions, it's mainly one guy pulling guard and one guy trying to pass.
Yeah, a lot more guard play in the gi, I think.
Yeah. Whereas no gi, there's significantly more wrestling.
Yeah.
If you take a D1 wrestler, right, basic, not like a world champion, but D1 wrestler, do we start him off at the blue belt, or is that not true?
I think it's going to be different case to case.
Yeah, I was recently at the WWE tryouts, and I was like moving around with some of the big D1 guys, and like although they're top 10 wrestlers and whatnot, the second you mount them, they're just like give up.
Yeah, they don't
Like,
know.
I can't get up from here,
Yeah.
I think you just start him off like it won't take a guy that long to figure out like how to put boots in, how to be okay if you take guys back and he like pins you, if he rolls over and you're on your back and that's like actually good. It won't take that long. So yeah, I think like you start them off at the normal whatever beginner belt and they're just gonna climb up pretty
I
fast.
definitely think
obviously.
they'll progress faster
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu than just your average person, just because
For sure.
I mean, all wrestlers are super athletic. They know how to move
They
their
have
bodies.
the mind for grappling already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they know how to learn and get better at a sport. So I think they're definitely going to progress much quicker. But with that being said, if this dude's coming in and he's getting triangled every 30 seconds by
Yeah.
white belts,
You give him a blue
then,
belt.
then
Yeah.
no, you
give him a white belt?
Give him a white belt.
Okay.
If he's getting triangled every 30 seconds by white
I'm like,
belts,
give him a blue belt, motivate him. It's like, these white belts are
Blind
fucking up. You
confidence.
gotta, you gotta figure
then
this
you
out.
start him out at white belt, but if he's coming in and he has a general idea of how to avoid submissions and a little bit of passing, then maybe a blue belt.
I think you hit something on the head. Like they know how to learn. A lot of athletes, some athletes don't even understand how to learn. Like maybe it's like an ego thing. They don't want to like take in that somebody else's opinion or information. But understanding how to learn is very important, and that's something that wrestling they implemented in you. Like
Yeah.
if you could replace belts with anything in the world of no-gi, what would you replace it with?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I guess the next best thing, I don't know, ranked rash guards.
Rash guards, yeah.
Yeah, probably the
It's
best
hard.
thing.
It's hard to beat the belt because it's such a cheap way to say like, all right, whew, it's dusty.
That was, yeah.
It's just, it's hard to beat like, I mean, per penny. This is like, it's a great way to just you could belt your whole student, all of your students, and it'd be like everybody kind of understands it. It's visible, but at the same time, no-gi would never wear it.
Yeah, it's
Ranked
visible
rash
in the
guards.
gi. Yeah, that's the thing. Ranked rash guards. Long story short, I think belts don't matter. I think they're going to be less and less important as the years go on in the sport, and I think we're going to see more just submission grappling with it being pure meritocracy style. If you're good, you win. If you're not, you lose.
Okay, in my personal and professional opinion, since I am a 2-time ADCC silver medalist, I also win. I'm not going to list all my accolades.
There's too many.
Too many, yeah. In my professional opinion, I think that belts are slowly becoming almost irrelevant. Right? I do think it's a good way to track your progress, but you can do the same thing with a sticker on your forehead. You say you have a black sticker, you have a blue sticker, etc. I think the belt is just a way to track progress, help people kind of like understand. It's maybe it helps them expect like, oh, it's going to take me 3 years to get this, 8 years to get this. I just think it helps set standards. But ultimately, in the world of competition, belts are irrelevant. If you can beat the best guy in the world, you are the best guy in the world, regardless of how long you've been training or your belt color.
Yeah, so I think from a competitive aspect, I think that they're pretty much irrelevant at this point. You know, we've seen, you know, blue belts going in and taking silver at ADCC like Nicky Rod. But I do think it's important from like a coach's perspective just to reassure that you know, the students know that they are getting better.
I think it's being phased out slowly.
Yeah.
But it does still matter. It does still matter in the, like in here. But then again, like in wrestling, college wrestling rooms and wrestling, they don't give a shit. They just, whoever's good competes at that weight class, right? They rep that weight class for the college or whatever.
What's weird is at the heavyweight, obviously heavyweight in most sports is like it's the most unathletic or most like least technical weight division is heavyweight. So in wrestling, you see guys sometimes that only wrestle for like 2 years and they'll win a high school state title, and you have other guys that been wrestling since they could walk and they don't even come close. So I mean, you know, I think you can disregard it, but from a business standpoint, I definitely understand and respect the belt system.
Yeah.
But no gi over gi all day.
There we go.